Well, it's been a while. Welcome back on my show, and tell me
Thank you.
to all the guests that's been on your show.
I'm sorry. What was the last part?
Tell me, it's been a while. Tell me all the guests that's been on your show.
Oh, um, since the last time we spoke, I reached over 600, but I don't know how many I've had since we last talked. I just know that I reached over 600, so that's a nice milestone. I
Eh,
got a few
um,
actors, singers, and stuff, so it's been nice. But now, because it's the holidays, it's slowed down. I like have no interviews left.
right, right. Same here. I slowed. I took a break, a holiday break, and then I'll start back up. Um,
Yeah.
I'm in January. You know, you gotta have the holiday break. Everybody's celebrating Christmas, Hanukkah, New Year's. Um,
Yeah.
the year went by so fast.
Oh yeah, for sure it did. Yeah. It feels like as I get older, that time goes by faster, and I'm just aging.
Mhm. It's unbelievable. And it's just so amazing that, there's someone else doing a talk show, some similar like me. We're interviewing
Mhm.
actors and actresses, but that's what I love about this entertainment industry because it's not a competition. We're supporting each other. And it's so
Mhm.
amazing and awesomeness how we can find out other actors that have not been on my show yet, but has been on your show, or who's been on my show has been on yours, that we can have conversations
Hello?
about their films.
I think I just lost you for a second there, ended up cutting out.
Oh, can you hear me?
Now I can, yeah, yeah. For a
Okay.
moment there, like cut out. I'm like, okay, wait a minute. I thought I pushed something. I'm like, okay, hang on.
So, so for since the last time you've been on my show, who is your favorite actor and actress that you had on their show so far?
uh, I mean, it feels weird, like when I pick favorites and stuff. It kind of makes me feel weird. But I would say I like there was a show
I
I was
shouldn't say
watching.
I shouldn't say favorite. What was the one that was so um what's the word? Intriguing, or had a very interesting roles, or that got people's attention. I'm trying to say. I'm trying to find the right wording.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if it is about, like, a favorite thing, usually how I word it is like, well, what movie or show they were in that I honestly liked the show or something. Like, there was the show on, HBO that came out during the summer called what was it called? We Own This City. That's the title of the show, and it was like a little mini series. It was like 6 episodes, and it's on the HBO Max now, and I was able to get a few actors who were in the show, so I think that was pretty cool. And then I would say, like, what was different, intriguing would probably be there was this person who I interviewed where they do like fan art of movie posters. I thought that was really cool and very different because I've never like interviewed someone who's done that. So I thought that was a cool one. But I would say those would probably be the ones that are sticking out right now. But they're not. But we're not picking favorites.
For me, I don't have any favorites at all.
Yeah.
I've had so many actors and actresses that's been on my show, and
Mm-hmm.
it's so powerful how each person has different roles and films they've been in, TV shows, and
Mm-hmm.
we all support each other in this entertainment industry. You know,
Oh yeah.
you never know where you're gonna see yourself in 5 years, and
Mm.
and this is what I love been doing. So far this is going to be pretty soon. It's going to be my sixth season during my show.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome.
Well, thank you. Nothing to brag about. But how about you?
I don't really like label them as seasons because it's not like really a show. It's more of just like a publication. So I just kind of do it by the hundreds. Like, oh wow, I reached 100 or 200. Like I'm a little bit over 600 right now. So I did really well. Like this whole year, I got like a good. I want to sit close to about 100 interviews this year. is what I got. I mean, unless probably a little less than that, who knows? But but it was definitely over the 500 mark is what I reached. So that wasn't too bad. I mean, especially with the way the world is with the whole pandemic and stuff. I think in a way though, the format that I do, the format that you do as well, it's like more convenient for people, you know, because you don't got to leave the house and stuff. You don't got to touch people. so so there's no virus.
Right, right. You don't
So
have to leave
that's
people, you don't
nice.
have to touch people. We're all and we support, it's just um the Zoom and Instagram has changed a lot of people, how we can communicate and
Mm.
all that stuff. It's amazing.
Oh yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. Like, if I mean, there have been pandemics in history before, but that must have been way harder than it is now, right? Because they didn't have all the technology to keep in touch with people the way we do now. Like now, it's just so much easier to get through those things because you can still talk to your friends and stuff, but you have the little computer or you have it on your phone, you know. And then like when it comes to the whole interviewing aspect, you don't have to go to the Four Seasons and be part of the press junket. You just do it through here.
Right, 100%. That's 100% true. So, and it's just all the you're right because we never got to used to be seeing each other. It was harder back then. You have to
Yeah.
step outside and communicate. You had to do something, but now you have Zoom, you have Instagram, and Google. That's another one called Google's
Oh, Hangouts.
Google Hangout, where you can
Yeah.
communicate with people. And that's another way to do it. And it's me personally, Instagram and Zoom is better than Google Hangout. But I love.
I've used all of them. My first experience with the whole video chatting thing was through Google Hangouts because I didn't have an iPhone at the time. So when you don't have an iPhone, you can't use FaceTime, right? You have to use the whole Google Hangouts thing.
Mhm.
And I thought it was pretty good. And then when I got my iPhone and I started using FaceTime, like this is way cleaner. like your friends could see your zits and stuff.
Right, right. It's crazy, right? Just
Like
unbelievable.
really quality.
Hmm.
Like with the Zoom, also, I feel like they must use some kind of a nice technology to make it almost like you're actually there with the person too. Like there's a nice
Right,
little
right.
likeness to it with the quality.
Hmm. And um, what's interesting is the, you don't have to go to college to be a talk show host or be in the entertainment industry. You don't have to go to college to be an actor.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's true.
and um, and that's one thing I love about Zoom is you can audition on Zoom. You can
Mhm.
audition on Instagram we can do the same, but Zoom is better. But
Yeah.
that's what I'm trying to say. It's like back in the day, it's Zoom was around, but it wasn't so popular. And then when the pandemic
Mhm.
came in, Zoom was it went skyrocketing, and it still is. So
Yeah, for sure.
a lot of people use Zoom.
Yeah, because I've always heard about Zoom, like when it first came out, but I never used it because in the
Same
school,
here.
yeah, because like with the school I have online, like they have lectures, but you don't like really need to go in. You could just come in at a later time or something. So I usually go in after they've been recorded so I could just not have to worry about being presentable. That's the whole point of doing school online, right? You don't have to look presentable.
Right. That's 100% true.
Yeah, and then
Um,
when the pandemic happened, that's when I started hearing about the whole Zoom thing, and I just wanted to download it just to see what it looked like. Even though I had no one to Zoom at the time, I'm like, oh, this is like really pretty quality. Look at this.
and the good news about Zoom is you can I have to say, my background, you can change your background, you can do anything, amazing, and it's one thing to do about Zoom for sure. So,
Yeah, it's a nice thing, nice little feature.
right, 100%. You know, and the one thing I will notice is like, not I was gonna say, I love, that's one thing about Zoom is, all these actors and actresses professional, unprofessional, we all communicate through Zoom now. Have our
Mhm.
shows on Zooms. You can be away from your house and do Zoom. It's just amazing how technology came in place.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, that is the nice thing about it. Like when I first like had my first Zoom experience was I used to be a seat filler volunteer. I would like go to award shows and talk shows and like sit in the audience. Then when the pandemic hit, they didn't have live audiences for a while. It was all on those big old video screens, right? And I would basically submit like a ticket that I want to get a ticket, and then they invite you if they think you're cute enough, I guess.
Hmm.
I mean, I'm not really sure how the casting process works for that,
Right.
but
That's 100% true. 100%.
yeah, my first
Um,
experience with that was America's Got Talent. They were doing the whole
mhm.
seat filling thing, and you're on like this little video wall with all these other people from all over. I think it was just America. I don't think they had any other countries on there. And
Right.
it's really cool because people who don't live near Los Angeles were able to attend the show from home. And they were like the first show to do that. Then after America's Got Talent did it, all these other shows started doing this whole virtual audience thing. That was my first time like using Zoom. I thought that was like a really cool first experience with it. And then and then I never deleted it from the iPad since.
Right. And 100%, so Zoom is amazing. It's just unbelievable what we can do with Zoom. You know,
Mhm.
thanks to Zoom and Instagram, my talk show is still going, you know,
Yeah, helped a lot for sure.
and amazing. So, such a topic is that how does it, for me being a talk show host and you being a talk show host, it's amazing. It's just like I said, it's wonderful that there are other people out there doing talk shows, and um, I support each and one of them, because you never know where we're gonna see yourself in 5 years, right? And
Yeah.
wherever we end up, we want to support each other. Um,
I mean, it's like a tiny little it feels like it's a tiny group of us, right? I mean, I'm sure there's other people who do this whole format that aren't working for like Good Morning America or something. But I mean, it feels like there aren't many of us, right? It kind of feels like that.
right, 100%. Feel like there's not many of us, but there is.
Yeah. But that's like what they say about like Hollywood in general. It's like a big little town. There's all these different actors and stuff, but there's like this little community. They all go to the same parties.
Right. The one thing I will say is that we, entertainment industry is it is, but I believe what what the people don't realize is you don't need to go to acting school. You don't
Mhm.
you don't have to go to school to be a film director. It's like you can make your own film, you can be your own director in films and
Mm.
your own actor and it turns out great. And
Yeah.
we're about wasting your money. Well, not wasting, but I'm trying to say, not being
Mm.
stepped.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it depends on like what someone wants to do. There are certain
Mhm.
jobs where you need to go to school or no one's going to look at you, like being a doctor, you know? Or there are certain jobs like being an actor where, hey, I mean, if you want to go to let's say Juilliard, right? Like one of the best drama schools to get more training, that's fine, right? And there are some people who don't need to go to school. They just have a natural ability to do it. Or
Mhm.
I mean, in a lot of ways with school, you can get connections by going to school, right? Like your professor may know a casting director,
That's
perhaps,
true.
right? Yes.
100%.
Yeah, so that's a
Well, the
nice
one thing
little
I will say is that excuse me, like a sneeze is coming. It's like, it's 100% true. But also part of it is I believe that it's not really required, right? They
Mhm.
tell you that you can learn all these parts, but in reality it's like, oh wait, why am I learning this part? And then you're like, wait a minute, I'm not learning much. And then there's
Yeah.
people that don't go to school and they learn a lot. So don't get me wrong. I believe it goes 50-50, but I believe,
Mhm.
you have a lot of actors in Hollywood. I say Hollywood, but in the entertainment industry that
Mhm.
have college education, right?
Yeah.
Yet, big example is Tom Cruise, who can't read. So you look at
Mhm.
that, for example, a person who can't read became and still is a big actor, right?
Yeah.
In the film industry. Made Maverick, probably gonna make another one. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's about, you know, you can that's a big inspiration. You look at Ellen DeGeneres, for example, she was a stand-up comedian in New Orleans, right?
Mhm.
She became having her own talk show in Hollywood. So I mean,
Yeah.
it goes by that, like you don't really have to go to school, but you also have to work hard if you want it, right? So you gotta push yourself, and also find connection. That's one thing I love about Instagram is, you interview all these actors, myself and you, and we have these
Mhm.
connections, word of mouth. Say, hey, by the way, be on this show or be on this show or so, and it goes word by mouth. Bam, 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 right? Someone
Right.
there in California or somewhere out there in New York, Chicago is gonna be like, hey, by the way, I saw or you look on the IMDb or something. They're like, oh, when
Mhm.
been on this person's show? I just noticed they're not on TV. Where is it? You're like, oh wow, and it goes by that, right? It goes by word of mouth. And if and I say word of mouth about your show, and other people say word of mouth about my show, and it's like that's where the connection comes from, right? When somebody comes to me and say, "Hey, I'm in New York right now, or I live in New York, and I'm a film director, and I'm looking for an actress." Okay, what height? What age? Well, this age, this age. I'm like, well, hold on. I may have some connections. I look and I'm like, well, this person's been on my show. Maybe you want to reach out to her. She looks like she lives in that area. Reach out, go. And sometimes that's wonderful because that person like, wow, thank you. So and so me connecting with me to this film director. I was on the film or I audition. And it goes word of mouth again, word of mouth, word of mouth.
Mhm.
And that's what I'm trying to say. It's like, you know, if we don't have support in the community where we
Mhm.
don't support each other from word of mouth, bam, 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 then we don't leave from square one, right? It's not going to move. But when we have word of mouth, we're opening a door from each connections and connections and connections, right? And that's the one thing I love about my show, and I know you love about your show is,
Mhm.
we have this connections with each one of these actors and actresses.
Mhm.
They support our business, not business, support our show. And they're like, hey, I was on an interview with this person, or hey, check out my interview with this person, or check out, and it's amazing. I feel happy, but also for me, it's telling me that, hey, it's a word of mouth. It's like, hey, check out this person's gonna be on my show. So it all comes down to, yes, college, but I don't believe college is it anymore. To be a doctor, be a nurse, yeah. To be a pilot, sure. To be a weatherman, sure. But it's me personally, college is not what it used to be, especially
Mhm.
when you look at entertainment industry, right? You have
Right.
who are making their own films, who are making their own talk shows like us. And I believe, me personally, Hollywood is, I say Hollywood, but entertainment industry is changing,
Mhm.
right? You
Yeah.
have people who live in New Orleans and Florida and Texas and California, Arizona. And I remember before the pandemic, these states, their film industry wasn't growing. But now you look at Arizona and Albuquerque and Texas and New Orleans and Florida and Tennessee and Chicago and Alaska and all these places, especially in Hawaii, by the way, the film
Mhm.
industry, the local state and local people in their own state, they are actors. They're growing the film industry in those states. And that's the one thing I'm noticing when you watch those people in those states, you have kids who are 8, 9, 10, 11 years old, right? And they
Mhm.
have education, but you see them act and they're like, wait a minute, they're so good, but they didn't go to college, but they're only in elementary school, or they're only in middle school, right? Or they're only
Mhm.
in high school, right? And you have film directors, they're like, oh, I just started my film directing 4 years ago. And they're like, wow, no college education. So my point is like, that's the one thing I love about it. The film industry is growing. It's not what it used to be. And it's changing. It's changing. And we're gonna see slow progress for sure. And and it's not is it thanks to the pandemic? Yeah and no. You know, um, it's everything was crazy, everything nobody didn't know what to do. They were like, oh wow, what's going on? The world's on pause. Everybody's going crazy, pulling their hair out and you know, you know, have
Yeah.
our phones and TV. And um and trust me, my hair will be gone by then. But but
Yeah.
it is true. And it's amazing. You have a lot of people promote their stuff on Instagram. And Instagram has changed a lot. They used to have a
Mhm.
time limit on their Instagram live. It used to be only 40 minutes. Now you can talk 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours on live, Instagram live.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I have not even tested it to see how long you can talk on Instagram Live. But when I do my show on Instagram Live, I'm talking almost 1 hour, almost 2 hours, and I'm like, wait a minute, there's no time limit, right? And
Yeah.
Instagram is realizing it's like, hey, people are using it to do audition. You have a lot of actors who are in New York and in Los Angeles who are famous or not, talking
Mhm.
to their fans pre or during pandemic, and they're like, and that's why Instagram is so popular, and I love it, and um technology chain. So
Yeah, and I feel like with all social media, they're all kind of in the same little box, right? Like people use it for getting the word out about something, to communicate, to just like make a friend. Like, I'm saying? It's used for so many different things. But I feel like in terms of career wise, I use Instagram the most because I feel like it's the one that has the most traffic, right? Like whenever I interview people, I ask them to put their social media handles. That way people could follow them and I could tag them and stuff. And the most I get is Instagram. Like a lot of people don't have Facebook or Twitter, for example. I have all three, but the one I post on the most is Instagram because it's like, I mean, that's the one that just seems to be the most heavily trafficked in a lot of
and
ways.
the one thing I will say, part of me, is that
Mhm.
um Facebook is going away slowly. Twitter is slowly going away. Is 100% going away for sure? No. And one thing that's so interesting about Facebook is that they noticed they were slowly going away. But what's so interesting about Instagram is Instagram and Facebook partnered. They bought each
Yeah,
other. Right?
yeah, that I know. Yeah.
Be honest, that's amazing because
Mhm.
Instagram was going up and up and up and up, right?
Mhm.
Now, if you notice, Facebook was like, okay, we're slowly going down. Oh, good,
Yeah.
good, good. So one thing you notice about Instagram is sometimes when you post stories or pictures on Instagram, they're like, hey, you also want to post it on Facebook? I don't. It's like,
Yeah, I've seen that, but I
and
get freaked
and the
out when it
one
comes to
thing,
link things, like with those little buttons that say, "Hey, if you want to link it," I'd rather just do it all manually.
right, and that's the one thing I say. That's
Yeah.
the thing I agree with you, but I'm glad that they're doing that because Instagram is helping Facebook. And I think that's
Mhm.
why Facebook is not really 100% going away because you have people who may not get on Facebook, but they're like, oh, I only get on Instagram, but I can share. And then 4 weeks later, oh, let me get on Facebook. Oh, wow, comments. Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you. That's the one thing I will say I love about Instagram is because you can share your. Now, Twitter, I never got into it. Sorry, Twitter fans. Um, in a lot of actors in Hollywood use Twitter. I never got into it. I tried it. I didn't understand it. I never will. Um, even when it first came out, it took. Well, I didn't see it when it first came out, but when I heard about it, and it's like app
Mhm.
this and app that, and I'm like, no, this doesn't make point. This doesn't make sense to me. And then Facebook and Instagram, I'm like, let me use Instagram and Facebook. Come on, that's better. So it's like, so yeah, Twitter's there, but one thing I noticed about Twitter is like people were telling me, "Oh, you should promote your show on Twitter." I'm like, yeah, that's great. I should, but I don't use it. I won't. I'll have I can create a page, but I'll probably never get on. That's a shame that I would say that because I never understood it. Right on Instagram, I am glued to my phone. That's to say that. I am on my phone. I'm yes, I'm kind of slow responding sometimes, but I'm on there. And
Mhm.
it's like that's me. Like I can look at Instagram and look at Facebook. But Twitter is like you get on, you see all these people say at and this and this and this, and it's like it's not me. It's not for me. And a lot of young people are not getting into it. It's like I don't understand it. In a lot of people like NASA and the White House and all the people are using Twitter. That's great. I'm nothing ashamed of that. But
Mhm.
me personally, if Twitter wants to get younger people and our generation to want to use it more, I personally
Mhm.
believe Twitter needs to become like Instagram and Facebook. And they probably can't become like Facebook, but they kind of make it similar like Twitter, you know,
Mhm.
similar like Instagram, partner with Instagram so they can share. I personally believe that Twitter can do a little bit better on their platform. That's just me personally. I think their platform is very boring. You get on there, you all see all the feed, and you're like, add that. But if they make it kind of like Instagram, yeah. So that's why a lot of young actors and actresses, me personally, are using Instagram more. And
Mhm.
believe Instagram will be the new Facebook. And it's and you have one thing about Instagram, you can make your account private. Your parents following, but you have a lot of young actors and actresses who are 7 years old, the parents
Mhm.
monitoring it. But you know, you it's amazing because that's how they're building a career, right? They're posting behind the scenes. Their Instagram is growing. Their Instagram is growing and growing and growing. And
Mhm.
it's the one thing I love is like Instagram is being the new Facebook, right? And
Right.
Instagram has really changed their platform, like their live feed, their posting, their links and all that stuff. So it's just unbelievable how they're doing it. And only complaint for me is their YouTube. But other than um,
Mhm.
I'm a happy.
Yeah, like with Twitter, I know it's not among the most popular, right? Like with our generation, and even like the older generation, like they actually say that the older generation gravitates towards Facebook, which turns the young people off because they don't want to be on the same side as their mom, I guess. I mean, I don't know how they're thinking. Like, I've always looked at it as, hey, all social media has the same purpose, right? To connect people. And it just kind of becomes what format do you like, right? Like with Twitter, that was the first mainstream social media site I ever joined. I was 12 years old, which I think was probably too young, so I think I lied about my age. I have like a pretty vague memory of this, but I'm pretty sure that I was considered too young to join. And I wanted to join so bad because I was a fan of iCarly. and a lot of the cast from iCarly were doing like these interviews on YouTube I was watching, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you guys have to go follow us." I go, "Follow where? How?" Right? And I was looking at all this like Twitter stuff, and it's like, "Oh, okay. Well, I'm gonna make a Twitter that way I can follow all the cast of iCarly." And then it kind of blossomed into more than that for me. I started making friends on there. Like you could join little fandom groups and stuff. It's kind of like Facebook that way. You use a particular hashtag, you notice, hey, a lot of people like this actor, a lot of people like that movie. And to this day, I have a pretty nice like little network of just friends who like the stuff I like. So I feel like Twitter definitely has mastered that aspect of it. But I think with Instagram, they don't have the whole group thing like what Facebook and Twitter do. But Instagram is good about like marketing yourself. I
Mm-hmm.
think and with the whole algorithm thing, that's on all social media. There is a way to like trick the algorithm. You just have to like look up the same thing all the time, and it figures out, oh, okay, you like this. Because
And that's the
initially,
one thing about Twitter is that I totally agree with you. Twitter is it was really hard. You tell other people tell each other, oh, follow us.
Mhm.
It's not what it is, um unfortunately Twitter's very hard to understand, and
Yeah, I mean it's like pretty much all social media has its aspects to it that initially could
Mhm.
be confusing or a little hard to understand, I think, in the beginning. And then over time, it's, oh, okay, I just have to have some practice. Like with anything, you just got to practice it and then it makes more sense, right? Like, if you think about it, all social media has the same concept. You take your thumb and you just scroll aimlessly until it falls off. Like, that's just kind of
Right,
what
right.
social media is. And at that point, it's like, well, what format do you like? Do you like to read a lot? Because, like, Facebook, the captions can be very big captions. There's like no character limit. Twitter, as we know, has a tiny character limit, and Instagram's more in the middle. So right there, like, do you want your news? Do you want it quick, or do you want a novel? you know,
That's true. And
yeah,
it's just unbelievable how Twitter and Instagram, but me personally, you know um it's crazy how Instagram became popular. But I love
mm.
Instagram, and it's amazing, way connection to have your show going.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's like without the whole social media aspect, people who do things pretty much like in any kind of job, I think, but especially with the whole Hollywood stuff, without social media, no one's gonna know who you are. Feels like, like it
Mm-hmm.
kind of like that like you need it to get your career to a certain level sometimes. And I mean,
100%.
yeah, I mean, like Instagram could even be used as a portfolio, like YouTube. You just go on there, hey, look at my work, and people can look at it through there. And that's kind of the nice thing about it that it's really grown and blossomed so much over the years. But I mean, like in 20, 30 years' time, would it still be here
Mm-hmm.
with the whole media thing? I like to think it would be because then what was the point of it all? But who knows? Like maybe by the time that I have a kid, he'll go on Twitter and they're going to be charging $100 or something.
Hey, you never know.
Yeah, they're going to start charging people probably triple digits, and people are going to pay.
Right, right. That's true. That's true. Um, but
I have.
it's amazing, and I'm proud of what you're doing. Keep it up.
Thank you too.
Um, I will do my best as well, my end. In I'm on my fifth season, still going, and I can't wait to see what your what's up for your next chapter. And and like I said again, thank you for following me on Instagram. Um,
Yeah, of course.
only platform I use. But like I said, that's what I love about Instagram. we follow and we support each other in this entertainment industry. It's like
Mhm.
you never thought you have so many actors and actresses from different states, you know,
Yeah.
and here we are.
Oh yeah, for sure. And that's like I think that's the nice thing too. People are able to just connect through it, and I
Hmm.
mean it's a very helpful tool, you know. I mean, I was actually homeschooled my whole life until I got to college. So being homeschooled, I use social media a lot to make friends and to not be crazy, you know, to like know
Yeah.
what's going on in the world, know what people like, and um, you know, I've made a lot of close friendships just from using these social media type of platforms. And you know, now that I'm older, it's like I keep in touch with like a handful of them. So many of them grew up and they just leave. But you know, that's what social media is for now. You make new friends who like what you like.
Right. 100%. That's what social media is about. Um, um, just, you make connections, you make friends, and you make friends in the entertainment industry, and you support
Mhm.
each other. If we don't, then what's the point? You know?
Yeah, that's what it was designed for, to socialize on there. It is a social network, right? That's what they call it. So that is the intent of it, and it's nice that people can use it for more than just talking. You know, you can
Hmm.
just
Post.
support someone by pushing a button. You know, just pushing a like could really like make someone's day if you think about it, right? Like they're all proud of something that they made, and you like it. You know, it can make someone's day. I think that's kind of a nice thing too. That the
Right.
social media,
100%. And that's the thing. 100%.
yeah. So hopefully it's not going anywhere. And if it does, I just have a feeling they're going to charge us a lot of money for it. Because by the time we're like 50, it's going to be considered vintage. And they're going to start charging people.
Vintage.
Yeah.
Never know, right? I'm just kind of curious when I get to 50 what Instagram's gonna look like. I'm still using it. I'm like, hey guys, I'm on Instagram too. And like, oh, there's Ryochi, the Ryochi show. He's still using Instagram. It's like, of course. What am I using? Oh, you're using what? What is it? What's the new one app called? Okay, I'm gonna use it too. Here I am on the new app too. I'm like everybody's like, oh my gosh, Ryochi.
Yeah, I could definitely see like most of our generation still sticking around on there and still posting their breakfast, you know.
I'm
It's
gonna I'm gonna ask the new generation younger me to see what the new platform is. I'm pretty sure there's another one. I'm gonna say, hey, curious, Instagram still
yeah.
popular? They say yes, and I'm like, okay. They say no. I'm like, what's the new platform? What is it called? Instagram? What's the name? What's the app? Let me download it. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's always going to be evolving and changing. You know, like I remember just a few weeks ago when everyone thought Twitter was going to shut down. There was like this panic, and everyone was like, "Okay, so what platforms do we move to besides the obvious choices, Instagram and Facebook?" And people were discovering like all these independently owned social media sites. Like they're really tiny. They're all just starting out, and you could tell that they all kind of take inspiration from the ones that are
Right,
popular.
right.
The whole timeline look and stuff like that. Like you can just kind of tell. And like a
Yeah.
big one that a lot of people were kind of migrating to was Tumblr, which Tumblr I know wasn't new, but it's not as popular as the main three. So a lot of people were kind of just migrating over there, and because everyone thought for sure Twitter was going to die.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a pretty serious thing. It was a pretty stressful 3 days.
Oh yeah, I remember that. They thought Twitter was gonna die. Yeah.
Yeah, I was part of that group at 2 in the morning, crying like, "No, do this."
Oh, yeah. I never was a Twitter person, but again, of course. So
Trust me, it's better that you weren't because the stress. I didn't sleep. I mean,
one day, just kidding. No, oh, no, no, it's not. Well, thank you for coming on.
of course. Thank you for having me again.
Um, I would love to invite you to my live Instagram show with one of my guests,
Well,
and
awesome.
we both can ask questions.
Okay, cool. That sounds awesome.
Okay. I will if you like to would you like if you like to join us, that'd be amazing. So
Yeah, for sure. Just go ahead and like let me know like what days and stuff
yeah, definitely.
and see if I can do it, you know?
Yeah, 100%. Well, thank you for coming on and we'll definitely stay in touch.
All right, for sure. Thank you.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
Okay.
Bye.